Good morning. These are your BYU-Idaho radio morning headlines for Thursday, March 6th, 2025. Thanks for listening. I'm Brianna Latouche. The BYU-Idaho Saxophone Ensemble is performing this Thursday with pieces they've prepared all semester. Ella Ziegler has the story.
The rich sound of the saxophone will fill the air of the Snow Recital Hall in the BYU-Idaho Saxophone Ensemble concert this week. With 2 quartets and a soloist, the students will perform pieces like Argentine tangos, Irish suites, and 4-movement works. Saxophone Ensemble director Dr. Mark Watkins says the pieces are written or arranged for saxophone quartet.
Well, one thing that is interesting to most people is the fact that it's classical saxophone and not jazz. People associate jazz with saxophone or saxophone with jazz and don't realize that it was invented as a classical instrument some 80 years before it was ever used in jazz. And it has a vast repertoire of music.
Since the beginning of the semester, the students have worked hard to develop new playing techniques required for their pieces. The pieces are difficult, but Watkins says the students have grown musically during their preparation.
They're doing a technique in the last movement called slap tonguing. That's where you it sounds kind of funny, but with your tongue up against the reed, a lot of it, and seal it, and then pop it off, and it creates a pretty cool popping sound through the instrument. It's very hard to do. And the other is flutter tonguing, where you do what they call an alveolar trill. That's like speaking rolled R Spanish. And they have to do that into the saxophone. So they've had to learn a few things.
The free concert is on Thursday at 7 p.m. in the Snow Recital Hall on campus.
Students need support. They always play better when there's an audience to play for. And that interaction between the audience and the performer is really an amazing thing to feel. We live in an area that doesn't have vast resources for the arts. And we have an opportunity to hear, fine art. Of course, there's many other opportunities, but it's also interesting to hear the sound of a classical saxophone, which is foreign to most people.
You can find more information and the live stream link at byui.edu/music. For BYU-Idaho Radio, I'm Ella Ziegler.
The Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints released data on its 2024 Light the World campaign. According to a news release from the church, the campaign ran from November to December of 2024, and more than 850,000 people made donations, purchasing nearly 500,000 items. For specifics, 125,000 emergency food boxes, 500,000 polio and measles vaccinations, and 2 million meals were donated, among many other things. Since the giving machines were first installed, people have donated almost $50 million across the world. Around 450 nonprofit organizations took part in the Light the World campaign in 2024, which was more than all the prior years put together. Giving machines also arrived in Hong Kong, China, and Kenya, Africa for the first time. Protesters rallied in Idaho Falls Tuesday afternoon to speak against President Trump's recent executive orders. Local News 8 reports the protesters came together in downtown Idaho Falls, and more than 100 people were in attendance. This is just the latest protest in recent weeks in Idaho Falls opposing President Trump's policies. These have been your BYU-Idaho radio morning headlines for March 6th, 2025. Thanks for tuning in. More news, interviews, and great content are available on our podcast feed. Search for BYU-Idaho radio on your favorite podcast app. We're on SoundCloud, Spotify, and Stitcher. You can also ask your smart speakers to play KBYI 94.3 FM. Have a great day. This is BYU-Idaho Radio, and I'm Brianna Latouche.